So I am sitting here and I'm looking at Notebook LM and I'm trying to think about how to use it in a way to help me, like I'm going to be doing a training coming up in a couple weeks. And I've done the training before, but I thought, well, let me get it as a thought partner as I think about it. And so I took the PDF of the materials that we hand out. So it's nothing that I'm uploading that is protected, like training materials that would be company protected. But instead, I just uploaded the PDF of the handouts, which has the activities, and then it also talks about the outcomes for the training. So watch, there's a 2-host deep dive overview. So now I'm having it generate an AI conversation. It says it's generating the conversation. This may take a few minutes. Now what it's doing is it's going to give me a conversation about my document in 2 voices. And I've had that happen. I've recorded one earlier. I think this is how most people are using this. They're taking a source, they're adding it and maybe a few others. I just put that one PDF in there. And then I can say, from a trainer's perspective, help me organize this in a way that, or give me some benchmarks that I can look for. Even what I know from my experience, help me brainstorm this particular activity that might help them. Or what might I do with it says that it's done now. It's a 20-minute. Holy crap. Okay, we're going to listen to a few minutes of it. And then there's also a beta interactive. I think that's the one that I clicked before and I could join it. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to listen to their discussion and I'll just join if I need to. Ready?
Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be tackling something I think we all struggle with. Information overload. It's like, how do we separate the essential from the noise? It feels like we're drowning in data.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's where the concept of identifying critical content really comes in. It's like training your brain to zero in on the most valuable information, like, a mental radar for like key insights.
Oh, I love that analogy. And speaking of key insights, we've got your notes from a teacher training on this topic. And I got to say, they're incredibly insightful. And it really seems like this is something, even outside the classroom, that's a superpower for anyone who wants to learn more effectively.
Absolutely. It's about maximizing your learning ROI, focusing your energy on what will truly make a difference.
Okay, so let's dive into the heart of this. The notes mentioned 4 main criteria for pinpointing this critical content.
Think of it as having a conversation with the material, testing your understanding as you... Oh, wait, someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
Hey, thanks. My name's Todd, and I am also going to be presenting this training. And so I was just curious from your perspective, like, what would be some things about when you're talking about formative assessment that I might use with adults to see if they are getting the training's content that you're going over?
Well, that's a fantastic question. And it's great you're thinking about formative assessment for your training. For adults, it's less about, quizzes and more about application and reflection.
Yeah, it's less about did you memorize this fact and more about can you use this idea. The goal here is to make sure that your trainees are really understanding things at a deep level, not just regurgitating information.
Exactly. The training notes mention scaffolding and extending activities. So consider asking your trainees to connect the training to their work. Things like, how would you apply this to a current project? Or what challenges do you anticipate?
Those are fantastic ways to gauge understanding. The notes also talk about having learners create learning materials. And you could do that with adults too. You could have them develop a quick guide for their colleagues or something.
That's a great idea. Another tactic is to use open-ended questions that prompt deeper thought. You could ask, what surprised you most about this training? Or what's the biggest takeaway for you? This goes beyond simple yes, no, and really gets them thinking. Also, Todd, since you're presenting, you might consider using polls or quick surveys throughout your session. It's a great way to get a pulse on understanding and address any misconceptions in real time.
It's kind of like creating a feedback loop for your presentation. If you see that people are struggling with a particular concept, you can then focus on that more.
Exactly. And finally, remember the power of group discussions. You could have your trainees work in small groups to discuss and apply the training content.
And group discussions can provide really powerful insights as to how well your adult trainees are grasping the content.
Okay, with that great question from Todd now addressed, let's get back to the material. The training notes also mention the importance of extending learning for those who grasp the concept quickly.
So
they suggest some really creative ideas.
let me hit pause. So this is the thing, like, this becomes an interactive tool for me to process the content. Think about it from a teacher's perspective. If I was in the classroom and I was able to upload like the curriculum in some sandbox like this and put all these things and then say, I want to have a conversation with AI about the curriculum and say, okay, I need some practical help. What's the most important thing that I need to make sure these kids know? And I have a thought partner to go through this. So even in the training, if I don't model this to some degree, then we're not preparing people for a future that is actually going to be very valuable to consider. And I put in just one document, and it's got 20 minutes of this. So I'm going to download the conversation. Let's see, okay, and it's done. It's only a 55 megabyte sound file, and it's a podcast. That's crazy.